Hello, my name is Kiriarth, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the possibility of that Orks versus Space Wolf box that we saw floating around as a rumour, I want to say like the start of the year or something. Quite a while back there is a leaked schedule of when things would appear, and for the most part it's not been too far off, but there's been this rumour kind of floating around of a Orks versus Space Wolves box that would appear towards the end of the year. Well, not actually towards the end of the year. The Ork and Space Wolf codexes have both been announced. I haven't seen anything about specific release dates, but they're definitely on their way. What I'm thinking is that there's actually a fairly good chance of it, because if you look at what we've had over the course of 8th and the way that things have gone, there's been some kind of interesting stuff that Games Workshop have tried, and there's been the return of a few things that have been interesting. So, for instance, the Forgebane box is, to me now, the best example of Games Workshop doing something that I would not expect them to do, releasing something that I just wouldn't see them releasing in years gone by. A frankly very good value box that contains nothing in the way of chaos or power armor is, well, it was just beyond imagination, because when would they ever do that, really? And yet we have Forgebane, and now we know that the armigers, which you can get 2 of in Forgebane, are £45 for 2 of them, which makes the Forgebane box even better value than it was. Now that we know the price of the 2 newer units in there, it just increases it even more. We've got things like the new edition of Age of Sigmar is on the way, and the box for that looks ridiculous. If it sticks around the Blight War price, the Dark Imperium price, the Forgebane price, which have all been like £95, it would be insanely good value for the amount of units you get and the core rulebook and everything else. You know, if you then get it from a third-party retailer, it would just be crazy good, especially if you split it 50-50 with someone, which, I'll be honest, I'm kind of planning on doing. So, looking over the last year and a bit of releases and things, for a start, Orks and Space Wolves aren't like we've already had this. We've already had that as a box, and I'm pretty sure I had that as a box. I'm 99% sure we've had that as a box. I could easily see it happen regardless, just because Orks are still surprisingly popular. Space Wolves are very popular, and keeping up a semi-regular release schedule with large boxes, like ones that are, around £100, it kind of makes sense, because it brings up interest for those armies very quickly. It provides an incentive for people to go out and spend maybe more than they would do normally, or indeed to get people hooked in with starting a new army by giving them half of something that they have for an existing force, but the other half is such good value you might as well build off it. Orks versus Space Wolves is not a completely out of left field combination for something like this. They are obviously long-time enemies of anything is long-time enemy of the Orks, so in that regard there's absolutely no reason why it wouldn't happen. What I'm really interested to see is whether it would be just a standard box, whether it would just be like a Dark Imperium style box. You get a bunch of infantry on one side, a bunch of infantry on the other side, maybe a vehicle, and there you go. That's that's your lot. What I'm genuinely thinking about, and what I honestly kind of not expecting but would not be surprised about, is if we did see a proper big kind of content drop, so to speak. So new models for Orks, perhaps updated or new models for Space Wolves, maybe even the return of respective leaders of both of those factions, all piled together in one big, glorious, ridiculously good value box, because that is the trend, that is the way things are going. I mean, even when you look at technically smaller boxes, 2 Imperial Knights and a massive chunk of scenery for just over £100 it's ridiculous. It's designed to pull you in. People have been asking for Orks for ages. It was assumed it would be the last Codex to be dropped. Turns out that's actually Gene Stealer Cults by the look of it, but it's still not that far off. I'm genuinely curious and genuinely interested to see if this rumour is true, just how much stuff we get in it, like what the contents are. And that, I think, is the thing that is actually more interesting to me, because I've never doubted the possibility that such a thing could exist. You know, I've never sat there and thought, oh well, there's no way they'd do something like that, because it's pretty standard, it's pretty basic, it's kind of to be expected. But the trend, the way things have gone over the last year and a bit, have kind of made it that much more interesting to me, because we've seen so many bundles and packages and offers and discount boxes, and you know, the overall quality of the start collecting stuff is really good in terms of how much you get for your money. Some of those have been improved now, so they're even better than they were before. We've had things like Forgebane, where brand new models have been in a large box. I am honestly thinking to myself that it's entirely, like, it's actually within possibility that you could see a Loyalist Primarch, you could see a new Ghazghkull model and respective forces for both in an Orks versus Space Wolves box, and it would still be a reasonable price. I didn't think that would ever be something that would like jump into my head and say, well, that would make sense. Which, if anything, I think kind of shows just how far Games Workshop have come along in a way. Good value, discounts, you know, boxes that have full forces for less than you pay individually. These are all relatively new concepts to Games Workshop. This stuff just didn't used to exist. It didn't used to be a thing. But the rate at which they've made this stuff available, the kind of aggressive nature of a lot of the reductions in cost for this stuff, it's actually genuinely getting me a little bit excited about the possibility of us actually seeing a Primarch and a new form of Orc in one big glorious box set with supporting forces for both. That's like borderline miraculous, frankly. I mean, that's something that I just would never have predicted. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think that should be hopefully very clear. I'm not saying this is absolutely what we're going to see. 100% definitely. I guess in a way it's a more kind of a more profound thing than that, in that is not, I believe, an unreasonable speculation. We are actually at the point where you can wishlist certain things, and they might even turn out to be true. I mean, the Soul War box, which is the Soul Wars for Age of Sigmar 2, that I saw multiple rumours for that, of it just being all of the new Sigmarine models and all of the new Nighthaunt models. And I was like, if that's true, that's amazing. But let's be honest, how is that going to be true? They've literally just taken all of the new stuff that they saw and gone, yeah, that'd be cool if that was in a box. And I was like, it's not going to happen, because these are going to be big ranges that Games Workshop are going to push. They're going to want to sell separate boxes, and they want to get people interested and paying full price. This is literally just a wish list. This is just someone going, I like all of these models. Wouldn't it be great if you could buy all of them together? I'm not buying it. I can't see them doing that. And then, lo and behold, the Soul Wars box is all of the new shit that was announced for Sigmarines and Nighthaunt. All of it. That rumour turned out to be absolutely true. It turned out to be accurate. And it was just a wish list. That's all it was. It was just like, these are all new and fancy, wouldn't it be great? And I went, yeah, it would be great. It's not going to happen. But it actually is. And I'm now at the point where I'm looking at these examples and I'm thinking to myself, back in the day, if you said to me, hey, what do you think of the possibility of a box with a Primarch, a new Ghazghkull model, and like a proper box set thing? What do you reckon? Likely? I would go, no. Just no. Never. Not in a million years. Are you off your face? That would be ridiculous. They would not do that, because they would have to sell it. Like, it would be massively expensive. No one would buy it. What would be the point? Now I'm just sitting here and I'm looking at all the other things that people wanted to get. They've got it, and I'm just like, this could be a thing. Like, this could actually be a thing that happens. And again, I'm not saying it will, but I'm just really happy that it feels possible. I'm really happy that you can sit here and be like, this would be kind of funky, and find that it's maybe not likely, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Forgebane used to be out of the realm of possibility. Now it just exists. Soul Wars, a bunch of brand new models that were unveiled not that long ago, all just being slammed into one massive starter box. It used to be massively unlikely, and now it exists. Leman Russ leading Space Wolves against, for instance, Gazgul. Perhaps in prime Orc guise leading a bunch of Orks. Some new models. Nice way to sell a new box set. It's actually kind of plausible, and I like the fact that it is. The question, I guess, is what would you want to see in a box of Space Wolves versus Orcs? What I've said, or something different? Do you even think we need one? Because I think it's probably quite likely that we will see one, but do you think it's necessary? Do you think people would lap that stuff anyway if there is indeed new things on the horizon for both? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, there's a couple of things to click: videos, Patreon, subscribe, all that shit. Click it if you like, don't click it if you don't want to, and I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.